Now, we're talking with Derek X. We're going to talk about promoters. We're going to talk about Top Rank Boxing in just a couple of minutes, but I want to talk local first. I want to talk about the fact that the economy, where cities around the country, certainly Fresno, slowly opening back up again. People are getting out in their cars. I've noticed more traffic on the roads. It's good to see. I will tell you, and you just heard 37 minutes of Dr. Maurice from Mayo Clinic, and he says numbers are going up around the country. He has a lot of concern about that. I can tell you that him and I have talked off air. He has a lot of concern about that. A lot of people do. Folks here in California do. But local boxing gyms are coming back. Have you had a chance to visit any of them?
Yes, I did. Actually, this week I visited 3 of them here locally. And you're absolutely right, CG. You and I have even had the discussions with some of the things going on that we feared a spike. And the local gyms are very trepidatious into how they're opening. And they all have series of protocols for the parents coming in, what's supposed to be done by them when they come in, hand sanitizer, masks, the kids when they're training, to bring their own equipment. And where it's been really hard on these local gyms, I went to Aleman Boxing, I went to Big Brother Boxing, and I went to Heartbeat Boxing. Local gyms that have been around for quite a while. Now, Aleman Boxing and Big Brother Boxing, both are 501c3 nonprofits, which means they provide for the community. They give kids free boxing lessons, free mentorships. They tutor these kids not only in boxing but in ways of life. But they are also very in control. I watched Aleman, Frank Aleman, with his kids there, and he had said, attendance is down. When they lose 25 to 60% of their revenue, it's very, very hard to come back. Now, they haven't had everybody, all of their kids come back, knocking at the door, waiting for the gyms to open, because the parents, some of them are keeping the kids at home. But these are very, very well maintained and managed facilities. And by managed, I mean not only with the COVID, but what they do with the kids. Because talking with Big Brother Boxing, Paul and Roman Cano, these guys were former boxers, as was Frank Aleman, who was a professional boxer. And the streets were an option before boxing. And if it wasn't for boxing, the streets would have been their life. And that's how it is for some of these kids. So I think we need to take more of an interest in these local businesses and the kids and help fund them, through donations and different ways that we could volunteer for them, because the kids are our future, regardless of what's going on now. And if we can tutor and mentor them through the sport of boxing, which also builds confidence in the kids, we can really do things to help the future of our city and our country. With Big Brother and Aleman Boxing being, nonprofits, a lot of things that they provided are donated, but they provide so much of their time. And they've had to do other things, like at Big Brother Boxing, they also do one-on-one personal training to try and help money pay the bills, because they just became a nonprofit. So they are just trying to learn how to struggle to get to that point where they're self-sustaining. So the nonprofits are really kind of the bloodline of the boxing industry here. Heartbeat Boxing is run by Gilbert Reese and his wife Lourdes, and they have a son, Valentino, who's ranked number 4 in his division as an amateur. They are heavily involved in the local boxing scene and putting on events, as well as Frank Aleman does. But he's a for-profit corporation, and this gentleman was working 4 and 5 jobs during this pandemic to help keep everything afloat, to keep his gym open. And when I was there, he was doing circuit training with individuals. They were all 6 feet apart, but he had people rolling. He had people going. So these people in the local boxing industry are trying to be positive. They're trying to get their bases back, and they're trying to grow. Boxing is a passion, and boxing has a huge passion here in Fresno.
Well, and you mentioned Frank Aleman and Big Brother and Heartbeat. I don't know any of them personally, but I certainly have stayed on top of Frank. And
yes,
and I'm always struck by, with all the videos and all the pictures, And, kids' faces don't lie. They just, as a father of two, and you're a father, kids' faces don't lie. Those kids always look like they are having a blast. They're just having a great time. And what I appreciate about anybody like Frank and others who are mentoring, educating, teaching young people is that they are not only teaching them skills for whatever sport it happens to be, or if it's music, whatever the case may be, but that they are remembering that they're kids and that at the top of the food chain, they need to be having fun. And I think sometimes we forget that we should remember to allow kids to be kids. And these guys do that. And I have great appreciation for that, Derek.
I do too, because a lot of what they are doing is volunteering their own time to do that. They're making sure that the businesses and the gyms stay open, but they are providing a community service, to, like you said, mentor the kids, watching Roman Cano and watching Frank Aleman work with these, underprivileged kids and bringing a smile to their face. I watched Frank get on one individual because he came over and wanted to do something else, and Frank's like, no, you didn't jump rope. You were just standing there with the rope in your hand. Get back there, get it done. And then 30 seconds later, he's tying the shoes for another kid because the shoes came untied, but he had gloves on. He couldn't get them tied. He provides that mentorship and leadership figure, as does Big Brother Boxing. This is how they came up. When I first came across Roman Cano, I believe it was either him or his brother Paul. They were telling a story on a show I was with Pete Lopes called The Fight Hour. And he had said that he thought he was tough, he thought he was bad, until he started to go train with Pete in the PAL, Police Activities League. And then he learned after his first day of training in boxing, he wasn't as tough as he thought he was. So boxing helps bring a confidence to these young kids too, as well as the mentorship that these individuals provide.
Right. And the other challenge, we're talking with Derek X, our elite fighting mind, in boxing mind. The other thing about with these gyms reopening is they do have a challenge. They have a challenge to maintain the protocols or the protocol that's in effect right now in terms of safe distancing, in terms of keeping things clean. And that's not always the easiest thing in a gym that's going to be a little humid, a little hot. This is coronavirus is a respiratory thing. Young kids are less susceptible to get it than older folks, but that's, don't go into these things blindfolded, because young kids have gotten it and gotten it badly. So I'm sure that all of them are very mindful of this, and they're going to have to probably be tripling what they normally do in terms of how clean they keep their gyms.
Absolutely, and they are doing that. And, they're putting protocols at the front door when individuals come in, and there's little lists there that you read when you come in. Some of them have sign-in sheets. The questionnaire is, hey, has anybody in your family been sick? So yes, not only are they struggling to reopening, they're struggling with a whole different a list of protocols which they have to do their daily business. So that puts an added stress on them. And because of some of the protocols, they cannot have the gyms as packed as they were before. But yes, kids are less susceptible, but these individuals are by no means being negligent. They're actually, because of the care of their kids and, and even the adults that they're training, like a Heartbeat Boxing, they have those protocols in there. They may be healthier, but these individuals and businesses are by no means being negligent or nonchalant in the facts of, I'm dealing with athletes, I'm dealing with kids, they should be okay. Masks are for purchase at the front doors if the parents want to stay and they don't have their mask. When I walked in with Frank Aleman, there was an adult father who had just sat down, and he would sit down, and Frank kind of just, and that was the kind of like, hey, get your mask on. So, yes, there are different things that they have to monitor, as well as spending time with the kids, being a mentor, and teaching them boxing.
Talking boxing with our guy, Derek X. Top Rank. We haven't heard